Peace was good. Here's another hip hop album review. I know it's been a while. It's been a couple weeks since I've done one. This is part 50. I'm gonna call this the LI edition, aka the Long Island edition. Reason being is because I'm gonna be reviewing two albums today, and they are JVC Force's first album, Doing Damage, released in 1988, and Ari the Rugg Man's Legendary Classics, Volume 1, released in 2009. First things first, I'm going to review this album. JVC Force, they're a group from Long Island. Whereabouts, I'm not sure. But I'm assuming they got their start back in I'm gonna say like maybe like the early to mid 80s to be safe. The name JVC Force is the acronym for after G guys. Justified by virtue of creativity for obvious reasons concerning entertainment. The members of the group contains Kurt Kazal, which is a big name in the underground circuit. A lot of people, for my underground heads, like a lot of people that like indie hip hop, like East Coast indie hip hop, that name should be ringing a bell. AJ Rock and B-Luv. The reason why they had to put Force after JVC is because they didn't want to get sued by JVC, who was the electric firm that makes like VCRs, cameras, camcorders, things of that nature. This is a pretty solid album. It's pretty good. It's really dirty. It's grimy. Not dark, but it's just like the quality. It has like that, that dirty cassette feel to it. And you know how I am. You know how I get down with the beats. Like that's the kind of shit I like. I like that dirty sounding. That not as polished type of beats. You know what I mean? The biggest single of the album is Strong Island, and I'm assuming that's where that term came from, is from them, because a lot of people know Long Island as Strong Island today, or Lord's Island for my 5%ers out there, things of that nature. And like I said, that was like Strong Island was their biggest single, was like their biggest crossover single, like their biggest single that they're known for, I should say. And in 1990 they had released an album called Forcefield, which I don't have in my collection. I do want it. Obviously it's out of print. And then I think earlier this year, or like a couple months back, or like a month ago, they had released an EP called the 1992 to 1993 unreleased EP. It was released by Chopped Herring Records, which they're known for releasing like a lot of unreleased joints from like artists from the 90s, like people like Shades of Brooklyn, Natural Elements, people of that nature. And I'll post some songs from that album. If I do find some, I'll post the links to those. You know how I get down with that. Kurt Kazal, after the album, and because they only came out with two albums, and like I said, Forcefield was like the last album that they ever made. That was released 2 years after this album in 1990, and after that, they just dissolved. But Kurt Kazal, he's teamed up with a guy named Q-Ball, and they put out a couple of 12 inches back in the mid to late 90s. And if I'm not mistaken, they have an album out back in they released the album back in 2005. Don't remember the name of it, but when I was doing the research, I saw they put an album out back in 05 or whatnot. But definitely, if you guys like albums like Ultramagnetic, if you like Ultramagnetic MC, Main Source, things like that, from the late to early 90s, you'll definitely enjoy this album. This is JVC Force, Doing Damage, released in 1988. Go copy if you find it. I got this at F.O.R.E. at the clearance section, so I got it probably for I think like $3 or $4, like one of the two. But JVC Force, Doing Damage, 88. Then we got my man Ari the Rugg Man, Legendary Classics, Volume 1, released in 2009. For those who don't know who Ari the Rugg Man is, he's an MC from Long Island. He's from Suffolk County. I'm assuming he's from Garden Heights or one of those places, because I remember one of the freestyles I heard him a while back, he shouted out Garden Heights and shit like that. So I'm assuming that's where he's from. But he got his start back in 1992. He was under Jive Records, Jive Records, they had artists like Spice One, Tribe Called Quest, Keith Murray under their label, back in the early '90s and stuff, early to mid '90s, whatnot. And like I said, he was under Jive Records, and he had put out a single called Bloodshed Hua back in 1992. There's a video for that. If I do find it, I'll go post it. You know how I get down with that. And 2 years later, he had recorded an album called Night of the Bloody Apes, released in 1994. But he wasn't known as Ari the Rugg Man. He was known as Crucified Dibs. But what happened was the album got shelved because, due to politics with him, his internal beef with the record label and stuff like that. He was kind of a rebel. He's like a rebel and shit like that. Like, he doesn't really follow, instructions. Like, he doesn't really follow orders and things of that nature. And, he did what the fuck he wanted. And, the labels wasn't having that. So, I mean, there was complaints about him, like, complaints like, sexual harassment, him harassing like the staff at Jive Records and things of that nature. And this blow led to the record label's heads and shit, and they just kicked him off the label and they shelved the album. And so after that, back in the mid '90s, it was kind of like a hard time for him because at this time he was homeless. But throughout the '90s, like, he was putting out, he put out a couple of 12 inches, and he appeared on a couple of compilations like the Sound Bombing. I think like both Sound Bombs, if I'm not mistaken. Excuse me. And then fast forward to 2004, he had to release his first album, which is really his second album, but his first album under Ari the Rugg Man, called Die Rugg Man Die. It's done its thing, in the underground. It was, critically acclaimed and things of that nature. And then fast forward to 2006, what really got him noticed, like, in the world, like, in the mass media, I should say, was when he did his verse for the song Uncommon Valor, a Vietnam story that was on Jedi Matrix's Servants in Hell, Servants in Heaven, Kings in Hell, that was released in 2006. His verse for that song is like one of the illest verses that I ever heard, like, because in that song, he talked about his father, like his tour in Vietnam that his father did back in the late 60s, early 70s, and you can't get more realer than that, you know what I mean? So I thought that was pretty dope. And then fast forward to 2009, he had released this album, this compilation album, to say. And let's get to this album. Definitely a dope album. This compilation album is pretty much a collection of songs that he's done throughout the past, like, songs that he was featured on, B-sides and unreleased songs that he's done throughout the 90s and 2000s and things of that nature. See an ill cover of him right here, people trying to kill him. Pretty dope. Kind of remind me, something you would have seen. Well, I'm not gonna give that movie up, but it kind of remind me of Maniac. If you have seen that movie with Joe Spinell, pretty cool. Right here, you can see his crazy ass. As you can see right here, his Die Rugg Man Die album right here. You can see right here. Pretty cool artwork. And what's cool about this album is that when you read this, you see him a brief description on how he made the songs and things of that nature. And what's cool is about that, this actually comes with the album, obviously, and it comes with a DVD, and the DVD comes with him breaking down all the songs individually and stuff like that. You can watch it piece by piece, or you can watch it all at once. So it's actually you watching like a documentary and stuff like that. And it comes with a couple of videos from, like, his label mates and stuff like that. Like people like Havoc, when he put that song I'm the Boss, that's in there. The song Lessons, Hellraiser's song, I forgot, I think it's a Renaissance song, if I'm not mistaken. that's on in the video and stuff like that. And it also comes with like a featurette of like a little featurette of his father doing an interview, a little nice interview. It's about like maybe like 9-10 minutes long of pretty much his father explaining who he is and shit like that, his biography and things of that nature. All right, let's get with the album. You know how I get down, briefly describe some of the songs and things of that nature. First song, Give It Up, featuring J Live. That song was actually featured on 2005 Wu-Tang's. Hold on, give me 1 second. It was featured on the 2005 compilation album that was released by Dreddy Cougar called Wu-Tang Meets the Indie Culture. Self-explanatory, Wu members that's collabing with other underground artists, I should say. And that song was featured on that compilation album. And he does his thing. J Live, very underrated MC, and definitely did his thing on that album. I thought that was pretty cool. Super, another dope song right there. Produced by Shuko. For all my peoples, you guys know who Shuko is. If you guys are familiar with Jet Out Mind Tricks, Shuko gives his beats to them and shit like that as of late, because Stoop is no longer with the group now. He's doing other things and shit like that. Done beats for like Helter Skelter from their new album Dirt that came out 4 years ago and things of that nature. It's a dope song. I really like that song a lot. Pretty dope. Third song, Renaissance 2.0. This is featuring Hellraiser, Tragic Gaddafi, Timbo King, and Ari the Rugg Man himself. That song, Renaissance 2.0, was featured, if I'm not mistaken, was featured on Hellraiser's Renaissance Child that was released that same year, or if not the year after, if I'm not mistaken. They both did their thing. They all did their thing. In my opinion, I thought Tragic Gaddafi stole the show with that song, because Tragic Gaddafi, he's one of those MCs that do not get his recognition, and it's really sad because he definitely put in work. He's paid his dues, and you know how that goes. Next song, Windows of the World, pretty dope song. What's interesting about that song, when I was watching the video, Ari the Rugg Man was talking about how he had met Ayatollah back in the late 90s because he was featured on this first Soundbombing album, and he had met Ayatollah at that same time. And Ayatollah, he was like an unbecoming producer and things of that nature, and like he needed a beat from Ayatollah. It's like, Ari the Rugg Man needed a beat from Ayatollah, so it's like, I'll do anything. If you want, I could get Mos Def to fuck with you to make the song This Fat Booty, and that's how that whole thing came about. And because of that, because how Ari introduced Mos Def to Ayatollah, and that's how they got the Miss Fat Booty beat, according to Ari the Rugg Man. That's how he was able to get that beat on Windows of the World. It's a pretty dope song. That beat is hot. It's tough. Next song, Uncommon Valor. I just explained about the whole thing about how he talked about his father's tour in Vietnam and things of that nature. I thought that was pretty cool. It was so ill that that verse was actually got a quotable on the source. So I thought that's a pretty good honor and shit like that. The next song, Who's That Guy, released in 1996. It's pretty cool because in the song Lessons that was featured on his Die Rugg Man Die album, he had a line where he said in 1996, I'm just paraphrasing, I'm gonna paraphrase what he said, but he said in 1996 Havoc had gave me a free beat. He gave me a beat, hooked me up with a beat and shit, like a free beat, whatnot. And it's crazy because when you hear the beat, you could tell like it could have been, it could have been, you could tell it fit, the Hell on Earth. Like, it sounded like a song that, Mobb Deep would have used on the Hell on Earth times and shit like that. I really like that beat a lot. What's interesting about that song itself, he said that they found the 2-inch reels that they recorded on at a studio that was closing down called Mirror Image Records. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are familiar with that name. For all my hip hop heads, they were in the verge of closing down, and R.A. he found the 2-inch reels with both the vocals and the single in the beat. So he digitized it and shit like that, and then that's how the song came about. So the song he was talking about in Lessons, this is a song that he's talking about, and it featured Havoc. They both do their thing. Like I said, it's sound like something Havoc would have made back in '96 for the Hell on Earth album. It's pretty dope. I really like that song a lot. Definitely one of the best songs on the album. Next song, L.I.'s Finest. Pretty cool track. It's pretty much him bigging up Long Island and saying like he's the best MC out of Long Island and things of that nature. Next song, Stanley Kubrick. Pretty cool song. That song is actually featured on the Sound Bombing album, Part 2, the second one. That was pretty much like one of his biggest songs to date. That a lot of people recognize Ari the Rugg Man for, stuff like that. It's a pretty cool song. Next song, Cut Renaissance. This is featuring Biggie. It's a pretty dope track. It is, I would have to say, it's misogynistic, but I don't care. I'm open-minded, you know what I mean? But for the average person, he was like, he hates women. Like, have an open fucking mind. It's entertainment. It's not to be taken seriously. It's just fucking entertainment. You know what I mean? Let me see how much time I got left. Alright, yeah. Cut Renaissance, pretty dope track. That song is actually featured on his self album Night of the Bloody Apes that was supposed to be released back in 1994. It was him featuring Biggie, like I said. That song is so ill, but it's gritty, it's grimy and shit like that. You can hear like the cassette feel of the song and things like that. Like I said, it's very misogynistic. There's a line where Ari the Rugg Man is saying, yo, I'll rip your cunt out with a spoon and crazy shit like that. You know what I mean? It's like some fucking horror movie type shit. That's Cut Renaissance, like I said before. That was supposed to be on his first album, Night of the Bloody Apes, when he was doing the Specified Dibs. Three Kings, pretty dope. It features Cool Rap and Big John. They all do their thing. Cool Rap, he steals the show in my opinion. Next song, Smith Haven Mall. Pretty dope song. It's pretty much one of Ari Rugg Man's darkest songs. One of his darkest songs that he's ever done. If not, it's his darkest song. This is around the time when he was homeless and stuff like that. He talks about that in this song. Talks about how he's going through a lot of shit that he would actually you would have to listen to the song. It's a dope story, but at this time, this is when he was homeless and stuff like that. And that song, Smith Haven's Mall, was actually 12-inch that was released back in 1996. If I'm not mistaken, it was the B-side or the A-side next with what's that song? 50,000 Heads was also featured on this compilation as well. But there's a pretty dope song, definitely one of his darkest songs. Posse Cut, pretty dope, featuring Hellraiser, Jojo Pellegrino, and Black Poet. There's actually a video for that song too. Definitely a dope song. They all do their thing. Jojo Pellegrino, very underrated. Black Poet as well. Hellraiser, they all do their thing. All underrated artists. I mean, I definitely recommend you guys checking their music out. You won't be disappointed. You like ill beats, dope lyrics, can't go wrong with those guys. What the Fuck featuring Akinelli. Akinelli, he's one of my favorite MCs of all time. Definitely very underrated. Yeah, he's known for the pornocore lyrics, just about sex and stuff like that. But if you listen to his first album, Vagina Diner, which I don't have because it's out of print, it's hard to come by. But man, if you listen to the album, he has no pornocore lyrics and shit like that. But he fucking spits venom. He's definitely one of the illest punchline MCs of all time. I mean, definitely one of the illest MCs to come out of Queens in my opinion. But they both do their thing on that track. Poor People, dope song. It's pretty much him being poor and things like that. There's a line where he talks about he fucks girls in the behind the dumpster and things like that, or inside the dumpster. I thought that was pretty funny. Next song, 50,000 Heads featuring Sadat X. Again, that song is, like I said, I think it was the B-side to Smith Haven Mall, but they were both on the same 12-inch. So, like I said, it was recorded around 96, 97, things of that nature. There's a dope song, things like that. So that actually does his thing in that song. Next song, F Your Bitch, Effing Your Bitch. Pretty much self-explanatory. Pretty much talked about niggas that he pretty much talked about cats that rappers and some celebrities, even some like people that have money, like wealthy dudes that like while they'll go out traveling doing their thing out out the world and shit like that, he's a dude creeping and fucking your girl while you out there doing your thing and shit like that. And he talks about that. Pretty fucked up if you ask me, but according to him, that's what he did. So it is what it is. So fellas, hold down your girl, treat her right, cause if not, you'll have dudes like him, fucking your girl while you're away and shit. And the last song, Every Label Sucks Dick. Self-explanatory. He's pretty much saying, fuck every record label. They don't support real hip hop. They don't really support the artists that they put out and shit like that, and things of that nature. And that song was also featured on the Night of the Bloody Apes album as well, but they cleaned it up and stuff like that. You can still hear the the cassette feel, but they really cleaned it up because they had leaked the song, but it was really dirty. Had the cassette feel, but I actually like that version because it had a character. They cleaned it up, but it still has that feel to it. And that's it. Oh, another thing too, I want to point out too. Speaking of Every Label Sucks Dick, I think it was like about a month ago. He was at the airport. Forgot which airport he was in, and he had a shirt that said Every Label Sucks Dick. And he was going to he was born in the airplane, and there was a flight attendant that said you can't. Well, he had a jacket and he had the shirt underneath. He had the shirt underneath the jacket. The flight attendant, she caught her head. She's saying, "Yo, you can't have this shirt on. You can't have that shirt on. It's inappropriate." It's like, all right, cool. I'm gonna take it off. Flip it inside out. I was like, nah. She was just giving him shit, so he didn't get to board the plane. So to that flight attendant who's watching this, go fuck yourself, because at least he was being a gentleman. He said he'll try and take it off and flip it inside out. You know what I mean? But people just want to give people a hard time. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. And like I said, this is a very dope album. For those that are not familiar with Ari the Rugg Man, this is definitely the perfect album to pick up. If you can find it, pick it up, because I heard it's a little hard to find, but I found it in the clearance section. So yeah, so definitely pick this up, support real hip hop, and that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed that review. And you know how I get down, I'll post like all the goodies on the description boxes, and stay tuned for more beat videos, more reviews, more rants, and things of that nature. Hope you guys enjoyed that review. Peace.